Hi guys, welcome back to the channel Tech Concept with Ume. In this video, we're going to be looking at database security. Particularly, we're going to be looking at role definition and privilege administration. Now, as we all may be aware of, information is a very sensitive resource, and sometimes we have to guard the information against, external parties who are not supposed to be privy to the information. For that reason, security is a very important and, sensitive topic with respect to digital data. Now, before I go any further, I want to request that you subscribe to the channel. If you look to the bottom right of the viewport of this video, you will see a red subscription watermark. If you take your mouse and hover around that red subscription watermark, the subscription button will appear. Please hit the subscription button. Right. Now, that being said, we're going to start with our series. As I have indicated and will reiterate, as is widely known, databases hold information which there's unequivocal agreement globally that such information may be, in some cases, determined to be a sensitive resource. As such, the concept of database security is of utmost importance. Now, to ensure the security of data, PostgreSQL employs mechanisms such as passwords, password hashing, role creation, and privilege administration. Now, without the need for any extensions or add-ons like will be required to demonstrate the concept of password hashing, PostgreSQL uses the concept of role creation and privilege administration to restrict access to the database or to determine the level of manipulation that may be performed on database objects. Now, the reason for creating roles and undertaking privilege administration is that roles offer a flexible, scalable, and contemporary approach to managing access and permissions for a range of database environments. Now, this is a preferred option to creating users and assigning privileges to them, as was the predominant practice with some relational databases in the past. Now, think about it. By creating roles, you can assign many users to a created role, or you can assign an entire department in your office or in your organization to a specific role, or you can assign personnel of a particular rank to a special role, or you can revoke roles from a specific individual or an entire group of people. Now, that being said, we're going to get into the practice of this. So I am going to navigate to my command prompt and I'm going to log into our PostgreSQL environment. Okay, let's enlarge this a little bit so it's more visible. Okay, so I'm going to log in now. So we know how we log in. If you are not sure of how to log into the PostgreSQL environment, I will suggest that you look at prior videos of where we, initially started our practical exercises. So I am going to enter the command psql, okay, user, Postgres, and it's going to prompt me to enter my password, and I will enter my password. Now, once within the PSQL environment, we're going to try to look at existing roles that we have created already. We'll try to look at existing roles that we have created already. And to do this, I'm going to use the command \du, \du, and I'm going to end with my semicolon. Okay, here you will see a table that, you know, is presented to us. And our table consists of three, columns. The first being role name, the second being list of roles attributes, and the third, being member of. Now, the first column indicates the existing role names, okay, which is provided by yourself. when you create roles. The first or the Postgres is a default role, created once you install the Postgres, software. Now, the second column consists of attributes or characteristics of existing roles, essentially indicating actions that a role is capable of performing on certain data objects. Now, the third column serves to indicate whether or not a role is a member of another role, which is a specification that will determine whether that role has other privileges outside its original, role privileges. So how do we create roles? We can create roles by using the command create role, and which is what we're going to do. Create role and then give that role a name of your choice. So here we're going to say create role, first of all, create role, and we're going to give our role a name. So here, let's call our role ISM 211. You can give it a name of your choice. So naming conventions will depend on individuals. So here I'm going to say ISM underscore 211 underscore role, and I'm going to end with my semicolon. Okay. Now, with this command entered into the shell, you should get the output that reads create role, as you will see on the screen. Now, the above command indicates that the role has been created. Again, to check that the created role exists, we'll use the command \du. Okay, so here I'm going to say \du and end with the semicolon. Okay, and this will return the role listing table. Now, this time around, you should observe that the role ISM 211 role exists, as you will see, which initially didn't exist, but has been added now because we created that. But you will also notice that our newly created, role cannot log in as depicted in our table. So you see next to ISM 211 role in the list of roles attributes, okay, you'll see cannot log in, right? Now, we will therefore need to alter the role to enable login. Now, to do this, we will use the alter, keyword. Okay, so let's go ahead and use the alter command to enable our newly created role, ISM 211 role, to be able to log in. So use the command below as I will be typing to achieve this. So we're going to say role, alter role, ISM 211 role. Okay. And then we're going to add with login, with login. Okay. And then end with the semicolon. Now, this should return an output that reads alter role. Okay. Now, this output indicates that our newly created role has been modified to enable login. Now, notice that when we use the command du again, as I will be demonstrating, \du, okay, and with the semicolon, we will see that we do not have the attributes cannot log in next to our created role. So you see ISM 211 role, we do not have cannot log in anymore. Next, we will create a password to enable login to our newly created role. Now, the command below, as I'll be typing, so watch, my typing so that you're able to demonstrate it or you're able to implement for yourself as well. So the command below will help us to create a password. So here I'm going to say \password backslash password ISM underscore 211 underscore role. And I'm going to end with my semicolon. Okay. Now, will be prompted to enter a password. Okay, so here let's put in a password. Here I'm going to use 54321. So I'm just going to say 54321. It's not going to show, okay, or be visible that you're typing, but just keep on typing. And when you're done with that, press the return key again. Okay, so it asks or requests or prompts you to enter the password again. So here I'm going to say 54321 again. Right. Now, upon creation of our password, which we have just done, we will log out of our PostgreSQL environment and then log in again using our created role ISM 211 role. You have to note that currently we are logged in using Postgres, okay? So for us to switch to our newly created role, all right, we're going to log out first. As we go further along, I will show you a shortcut of, switching roles. But for this demonstration, let's log out first of all. Okay, so to log out of the super user account, which is Postgres, we're going to use the following command. So I want everyone to type \q, \q, and press the return key, and you will see that we're logged out of the PostgreSQL environment. Okay, now once logged out, we'll then use another command, okay, to log into the PostgreSQL shell, okay, using our created role. So here we're going to say PSQL, okay, user, okay, and then we're going to say ISM 211 role, ISM 211 role, okay, and then space again, and then we're going to say D, Postgres, then we're going to say H 127.0.0.1, and then we're going to say W, okay. Now it's going to prompt us to enter a password. Remember the password that we created just a while ago, okay, when we were um, trying to create a login, account for our role ISM 211 role. Okay, we're going to use that password. If you remember the password, which was 54321. Okay, now once that is done, you should be logged into the PostgreSQL environment. But in any case, I feel like before we go ahead, I should explain, what this means, the highlighted text, which we used to log into our role. So in the above command, the PSQL keyword, as we know, is a terminal-based front end to PostgreSQL. Okay, so that listing usually is conventional, and we always put that when trying to log in. It enables a user to create, objects and interact with the database server. Now, the U listing over there is indicative of the user or role. Note that in this instance, the user is our newly created role, ISM 211 role. The D specifies the name of the database that will be connected to. All right. Note that our role does not have privileges to create any database, and as such can only connect to the default database created, which is Postgres. Now, the H syntax specifies the host name on which the server is running. In this instance, the local host is being used. And as we know, with any programming, practical, you know that 127.0.0.1 is the local host. Okay. Um, Obviously, the IP address is that for your local host. And finally, the W keyword specifies that a password must be requested for correct authentication before the role requesting login can be granted permission. Now, once the command to enable login has been entered, you will be prompted to enter a password. So we did that as well. So here we use the password 54321, which we created for our role ISM 211 role. You will notice that upon entry of the password, all right, you will be granted access into the PostgreSQL database through the PSQL shell. Note though that the role ISM 211 role does not possess privileges to do anything. So to illustrate this, let us try to create a database. So here we're going to use the command for creation of our databases. So let's, type in create database, create database, and let's call that database student rec. Okay, and end with your semicolon. Now, let's note what we get. You will get an output that indicates that permission is denied to create database. Okay, so in order to correct this, we will have to log, you know, in again using our super user role, okay, which is Postgres. So to log out of the ISM 211 role, again, we're going to use our command \q, and when you hit the return key, you should be logged out. Now, you know how to log in normally. So we're going to say PSQL, okay, user, and then we're going to say Postgres. And then when we're prompted for the password, you know what password you entered when you were creating, or installing your PostgreSQL. Okay. And then hit the return key, and then we're logged in again. Um, Once logged in, okay, type in a command to alter our ISM 211, role. Okay. Now to achieve this, use the command alter, alter role ISM 211 role. Okay. And then we're going to say with super user. Okay. Super user. All right. And with the semicolon. And you should get the output that reads, you know, alter role. Okay. Now this will alter our created role, thus allowing the role to possess super user privileges that allows the role to do everything. So you should get the output alter role, just like we have gotten here. Now again, this output serves as indication that our role has been altered. Now note, with respect to altering our roles, Postgres provides us with a number of options. In this particular instance, we're altering to enable the created role to do everything, so possessing super user privileges. We may, however, alter the role to do specific things. So to view, the options that we may alter our roles with, so we're going to type in the command \h create role, \h create role. Okay. And when we hit the return key, um, let's do something again. Sorry, I used a capital letter H as opposed to the small letter H. So \h create role and hit the return key. So this should return, an output that looks like this. So the \h, okay, should return an output that looks like this. backslash H, create role. Okay. Now, let's look at the options that we have. Okay. Super user, non-super user. So these are things you can define for roles that you have created. All right. Or attributes you can define for roles that you have created. Create DB, no create DB, create role, no create role, inherit, no inherit, login, no login, replication, no replication, and the list, goes on. You can demonstrate it or you can implement it for yourself and, read through the options that you have there. Okay, so we're going to scroll to the end of that. We're going to scroll to the end of that. Okay, now the subheadings, as we have just indicated, that reads where option can be. Okay, so this is where I want you to focus on. That subheading that reads where option can be, because it provides indication of the options available for us to alter our roles with. Now, we have altered our role to enable all super user privileges. We will attempt to try it out. So to do this, log out of the super user role using the command again. We're going to do that backslash Q. All right. Um, sorry, shouldn't be capital letter, backslash Q. Okay, and we are logged out again. And then we're going to log into our created role just like we did previously. So here I'm going to say PSQL. Okay, that, and our role name, ISM211 role. Okay, the Postgres H 127.0.0.1, and then W again. And we know what our password is, 54321. Okay, so here we are logged in to the environment once again. Um, so to create a database, let's try to, use our command again that will enable that. So here I'm going to say database, create database, student rec, student rec, and end with the semicolon. Now, this time around, you should get the output create database, and this serves as indication that a database has been created. To create other objects in that database, you will need to log into the database, as currently the database being used is Postgres. So let's say C student rec. Okay, so now we are connected to student rec. Okay, now we're connected to student rec. Um, so we see that output. You are now connected to database student rec as user ISM 211 role. You can then proceed to create schemas, tables, and relationships, as well as populate and manipulate the created tables. So let us demonstrate through an example that we can create some objects in our newly created database student rec. We will demonstrate this by creating a schema and then a table. To create a schema, we will use the command below. So say create schema. And we're going to call our schema, or just give it a simple name, Q. Okay. And it says create schema. Okay. Um, we'll then create a table in our schema with the command below as well. So let's create a table in the schema that we have created. So create table q dot, which is the name of our schema, and the name of our table we're going to call rec. Okay. Uh, then we're going to open parenthesis. Okay, first attributes for our table, we're going to say name, and we're going to say var okay, which is the data type. Okay, and then we may give it a length of say 20. All right. And then our next attribute, we're going to say age. We're going to use just two attributes here because we're trying to demonstrate what privileges our created role has. So we're going to say age, and that is going to be an integer. Integer. Okay, I'm going to close that parenthesis. I'm going to end with the semicolon, and I'm going to hit the return key, and it says create table. Okay. So you see that our table has been created. Now, so we're going to stop this video here, and in a subsequent part, we are going to, continue with our demonstration. So here we have, illustrated how to, create roles, how to see existing roles that we have, how to provide or assign attributes to created roles. Okay. How to log out of one role and log into another role. And we will continue from there in the next video.